Robin.
What happened to Kevin Smith?
I don't know. He's never late.
He tweeted that he was on his way into the studio. I thought he was like on the floor somewhere.
No, I'm sure he'll be here.
No, I'm sure too. It's fine. I'm just.
How often do you check your Twitter, by the way?
Me? Well, because I sit around a lot more these days with my kids.
A lot, huh?
Yeah, it's more of just a habit, though. I know nothing.
I think so too. I was going to say that. I think I have a habit of fucking just checking it. Like if I'm watching TV, I'm constantly like updating and looking at mentions and seeing what I could put in there. And it's occasionally I just think how useless it is.
But how do you not, though? Because it's basically we all wonder what people are saying about us. And it's all of a sudden it's like, what is everybody saying about me? I want to check. You can immediately know what everybody is saying about you.
Yeah.
But everyone is doing this.
Yeah.
Like I'll go back to the playground. Yesterday, man, I saw all the mothers lined up against the fence. Their kids are in the swings going, watch me, mommy, watch me, mommy. And they're like this. God. They're like, oh, yeah. Like they look up, oh, very good, very good. And they go right back down to the phone. And I swear to you, I actually don't really check it that much when I'm in those situations. Because I kind of do like getting away from it.
Yeah.
I do, but if I'm in my house, it just kind of goes with being in my house.
I'm all over the place. I'm like, let me check my Twitter. Oh, Facebook. Oh, Instagram. What's going on there? The stock.
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking Drudge. Oh, this newsreel. I'm like constantly looking at my phone.
I get really excited when I know I had a day where I didn't check a lot.
Yeah.
I'm to that point, I'm like, oh, wow, cool. Today I did not check it a lot. That's good. I just know that's good in the end. Because I also know that nothing drastically happens in between every fucking 2 minutes or whatever it is. You're quickly doing a refresh.
Did you see the...
But I get really excited when I wake up in the morning. It's like, whoa, look at all the shit that happened while I was like in Sleepy Land. Did this big explosion in Texas.
They had the picture of the last pope being put in place.
Right.
And they had the audience in front of them. Mm-hmm. And then they had the picture of this pope being put in place and the audience and everyone's holding up the phone to take a picture or video in the new one. And the old one, they're just like standing there. And all you see are heads of people and them watching the event. And then the next one you just see, and it's everything. It's like, it's fucking like concerts and we were talking about that, how people just video. But if you took that picture back in time and asked people, what do you think they're doing here?
Right.
No one would know what the fuck it was.
And it's backfiring. When the technology first hit and you went on a Facebook or whatever and saw someone's like home video of their kid or whatever, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because you never really saw that before. You might have saw a snapshot of a family member or whatever, but like, oh, wow, I wasn't able to go to my nephew's lacrosse game, and here's a quick minute of the game. Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But now I don't think people are watching any of that shit anymore already.
Yeah.
They're clicking past that shit like,
pictures themselves, you're getting a lot more useless yet candid shots. Like when you could only have 24, maybe you had your 12 or 24 exposure film and you'd put it in your fucking little Instamatic camera. You made sure
every shot had to be right.
You had to make sure, like, all right, I want to take a picture of this. Now you're just like, hey, look, it's a ball.
Right.
Click.
Right.
Hey, my dinner.
Right.
Click.
I clean up my phone and and I'll select delete shit, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm deleting 300 pictures today.
Yeah, because
I finally get to cleaning it up.
You clean your phone off like with the deleting stuff?
I usually don't clean photos.
No, I'm talking about photos that I know just sucked. Because I'm like, click, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I just kind of leave it in the phone. Every once in a while, if I have some downtime, I go through and go, holy fuck, I just deleted 300 fucking pictures.
You
not the ones that I like.
You got to be careful of? Because I save, you know how you back up onto your computer when you sync your phone. So I back up, my folder's called like something like photo attempts. I forget why I called the folder that, but that's what I back up to. So now, if I take photos off my phone, I delete them, they're still in my folder on the desktop, so that it doesn't know, so it immediately syncs them up together, so I have to go into that folder too and delete them.
Oh, it'll just put them back on your phone?
Yeah, not knowing. Phone doesn't know nothing. It's just a phone.
I kind of leave, if I take like 5 shots of something real quick to make sure I get a good shot, I'll delete the 4 that weren't good.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I leave everything on there just because it's like a little fucking time machine thing. You could scroll back 3 months and be like, oh, yeah, that was going on, you know?
And then you realize it's the same thing every night, though?
Yes.
Just your 2 feet and a gun right here and a bottle there. Where was that from? 2 weeks ago? No, that was May of 2003.
It's just the background changes. There's a Christmas tree. There's fucking Halloween decorations. 4th of July. It's the same thing, though.
That's weird. And I think Google Glasses ship today.
Really?
I think so.
I thought they were still in like prototype phase.
They're starting to send them out.
Who's gonna be the first motherfucker walking around with that to be laughed at or punched in the face?
Until everybody has
their face.
Till everybody what would happen is they're going to look stupid at first, then they're going to make them really thin, and then they're going to be like a little visor, and then they're just going to be contact lenses. And nobody will know.
They don't really look that stupid already, though.
No,
I didn't think they looked that bad.
Google.
I mean, when it comes down to it's about storage. When you could leave your house knowing you're recording your entire day, and then realize in your head like, okay, it's all nonsense, but around 2 o'clock I saw that homeless guy taking a shit or whatever. Then you could go back and go, okay, I want that, and to upload to my YouTube channel or whatever. That's when it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Shit.
Do you see how this is going? Like, wait, let's say in a year from now it's contact lenses, or 2 years. So everything you see is now recorded. Let's say this becomes as accessible as cell phones. Everything 300 million people see is recorded.
Oh,
that really is like, in a way, it's the first step to being in everybody's mind. Because everything you're experiencing and seeing is recorded. That'll be the next step in surveillance.
Future Jimmy, man.
But it's not crazy.
No, but
it's not crazy.
But I don't think it's going to be as important if everyone is doing it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It won't be as important. It will just become the norm.
Like now, when we all search for that silly video online, it's almost like, oh yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, you would have watched 100 of those videos going, holy fuck, this is kind of special and unique. But now it's like, now that there's so much out there, I don't think it's as important anymore.
But look at how fast, like finding these bombers. We have photos already.
Right.
And we knew that's what would happen. Like yesterday or 2 days ago when this happened, we were like, well, there'll be pictures of them because there's cameras everywhere. But 10 years ago, you never would have like, I don't know, I hope somebody saw them.
Dude, could you imagine how many fucking videos of Kennedy being assassinated there would be if that technology was available?
God.
Everyone would have had their phones up. There would have been 8,000 fucking shots of him getting his head blown
And there
off.
would have been no question how it was done.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. That was 1963, and there was still 4 or 5 videos of it.
Do you think there's...
Which is amazing.
Do you think there's a video out there that just is laying in an attic somewhere?
No.
Because not everyone is willing...
Film.
Because I'll tell you this much. I know for a fact, it's either... And I forget exactly, but it's either my building or the building next to me. Someone filmed Sully going into the Hudson River, and they just don't want to fucking make it public. It is known in our parts that someone filmed it. And I even have asked to try to see if I can get a little closer to the person to see what the fuck it's all about. But it's a known fact someone in either my building or the one next to me has a video. They filmed the whole fucking thing. And the only thing we have is a security camera that plane going in.
I'll bet you there's a reason they're not showing it.
But not everyone is willing to fucking just give up their shit like that.
No, it's probably some married guy, and he was filming this girl's giant tits, and then behind him, Sully is landing something. There's something bad in the foreground.
Or fucking it's from his apartment, so the reflection in the window is him getting blown.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not as important to everybody. So I just wonder if there's some kind of JFK thing out there. But the person who was there that day is like, whatever, threw it in a fucking attic. And will it be on Earth someday? Does it even exist?
I don't think it does.
I just wonder.
I don't think it does. I think that it's such a famous case, and plus there's enough video of Dealey Plaza where they know everyone who was in Dealey Plaza.
They kind of
video
see
of
people.
True. So they got video film
or photos,
and photos of people that were filming things. So
they know who it was. They like, and the one woman who just didn't know how to use the video camera who was in the book depository. So it's amazing.
What do you mean?
Well, there was a woman, I forget her name.
Oh, that dumb bitch.
She was like under where Oswald was supposed to be. And she was filming Kennedy come up, I always fuck up the streets.
Right.
But before the turn,
the left
she could have filmed from the angle Oswald was at.
Right.
She was there, and she had it, and she aimed the camera down, and she missed the whole assassination.
It would have been pretty much a rifle barrel view of what was going on.
So what? She just didn't know how to film it?
She didn't know how to use the video camera. That video.
My
video
God!
I did.
Hey, Kevin Smith has entered the studio.
What's up, Kevin?
That video. We're talking about the Kennedy assassination, and the woman who there's she was in the book depository,
Jason,
and filming
the
way that Kennedy was going. And she was from Oswald's point of view, but she didn't know how to use a video camera. I forget her name, but you can see, I've seen the footage.
I've never seen this footage. So there's alternate angle to the.
Oh yeah, but you don't see the assassination because this dumb woman didn't know what she was
pointed the
doing.
camera at the floor.
Wait.
A rifle barrel view.
Wait, this has to be online. I got to see this.
Yeah, it is.
And when did this come out? Because
it's been out for the entire time.
When did you lose so much weight? What happened?
Oh, thanks, man. I've just been going to the gym and eating better.
He's been working it.
I don't want to come in anymore. I don't want to stand next to you. We look like number 10.
25 pounds, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, 25.
Can we see this video? I've never seen it before.
Yeah, maybe we have to have...
then, of course,
You're out of your mind. Breaking news is Jimmy's thin.
Oh, no, we've been talking about that.
I imagine.
Yeah, okay. Every pound we've been
I've
like,
never
holy
seen
fuck.
the video. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's...
Wait, so she's filming him before they make the left turn, and then all of a sudden the camera goes down because she's stopped.
Yeah, she fucks up the camera, but she would have
So she doesn't drop it because there's a gunshot.
No, I think she
Can
panicked.
you find that real fast?
Yeah, look for JFK assassination from book depository.
She's like, oh, he's so handsome, and
She just didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah.
She didn't tell me. What? Oh, it's silent, right? Okay,
Yeah.
You've seen the video?
Yeah, I saw it a while ago, like years and years ago.
No kidding.
What a dummy.
Restroom?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Go to the end of this.
Yeah, have the intern show you where the back
End of that hallway, make a right.
Yeah, and then just keep heading down the
Yeah,
hall.
you'll find it.
And he walked on down the hall.
Who was it? Bill Hicks, who had the bit about, like, you know, when you're, I think when you're elected president, they bring you into a room, sit you down, and show you the Kennedy assassination from an alternate angle. Like, any questions?
Right. They got it. We understand who's in charge here now.
We were just talking about technology, and obviously, you know, if that went down today, we'd have so many angles of the Kennedy assassination. We would pretty much know exactly what happened that day.
Look how quickly they pieced Boston together.
That's
What was it, Lord
yeah.
and Taylor security footage?
Between everybody.
I have not followed since last night. Have they revealed that they did arrest somebody?
No, that was a mistake, I think.
It was a mistake.
I don't know. It's not necessarily a mistake. I don't know if they want to give too much out. Because
the police and FBI had said there isn't a suspect, and then today they're saying, well, there might be.
Right. I think they're
protecting their fucking...
Yeah, they're keeping it tight to that. Because if they needed the public's help, they would have fucking said, this is the guy for sure we're looking for. And they did not do that for whatever reason.
They don't want to tip their hand, as they say.
Yeah, I think they...
Well, they keep saying that, like, we have pretty good footage of a guy coming in, putting a pressure cooker in a garbage can, and then walking away.
Yeah.
So
why
at that point,
why wouldn't they show the public that? Because one person would know that person.
Might not want to let the guy know that everyone knows.
They're just not willing to give us
now. And so, in today's news, the ricin thing is not related at all, right?
No, I think that's just coinky dink.
And then the Texas thing.
That was Texas? A fire at a fertilizer.
It just blew up a fertilizer that destroyed 65 homes.
Crazy.
That you see the explosion? You see the video yet?
I watched it. I didn't see the video of the explosion, but I saw the video of a guy who was talking about, like, a first responder. He was an EMT guy. He's like, there was a fire, we went over, and then the fire hit, and boom, got
it looked like a nuke.
Let us show you. We got to show you the video.
I'm still waiting to see the Kennedy assassination from the alternate angle.
We're looking for that too. But basically, it's a father is filming the fire with his. It sounds like a daughter.
Right.
Just filming the fire, and then here it is. Here, Kev. Instead of explaining it.
Yeah. Somebody will
watch this.
Send me that link, please.
This thing is.
Do you prefer it when people use their iPhone lengthwise?
No, I don't scream about it.
You just want to
turn your fucking phone.
Or do you think, like, now we'll get used to this over the course of the next 10 years and be like, this is
I think there'll be a built-in app that just does it for you.
Yeah, I don't understand why it doesn't.
Because this is ridiculous.
That's World Star Hip Hop fucking view.
You know. Here, just show Kevin this, and then we can move on with other stuff. So the father's just
so they're just
this.
shooting it for the sake of shooting.
Yeah, the daughter's in the car. It's like a cool moment they're having with each other.
This is crazy.
Watch this.
It's a big fucking fire, but it's like nothing compared to the explosion that happens. You gotta know you're too close.
It should collapse.
I would never think I was too close.
Really?
I mean, well, I guess you wouldn't put together that fertilizer explodes.
God. Oh, you okay?
Dad?
You okay?
I can't hear.
Come here.
I can't hear. Get out of here. Please get out of here.
Oh, my God.
Please get out of here.
Crap.
Please get out of here. Oh, my God. Dad, please get out of here. I can't hear. I can't hear anything.
Shit.
I I can't hear anything.
Oh my God! I'm so scared I'm gonna cry.
Isn't that terrible?
Dad, go! Dad, go!
But you got to assume everyone's okay because the guy posted his video online. So that's how we figured it out earlier
that's
today.
Kind of the most gripping part of those eyewitness videos now is just hearing people react. The Boston
the
video
reaction.
was the guy just going, "Holy!" Right? Holy fuck.
Yeah, the reaction to the shit is like what is crazy.
Could you show him the still from that video? Because and then
fucking,
but
it's like a bomb going on.
Basically,
literally.
he's like, I think this is going to collapse soon. He's all like, he's in on it. I mean,
this
in
is
on
what a fire
the
looks
moment.
like.
Yeah. But watch.
Hey,
look at
darling.
the still. Look at the still that.
That fucking thing is like it literally dropping a bomb out of a B-52.
That's why the entire town is destroyed.
Look at that. That's the actual explosion.
It was so intense it reached them.
Yeah.
In the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how far away they were.
A couple of 100 yards.
Yeah, our first guess was like 8 miles. And
8
miles. No, we're fucking idiots. It's not that
far. Not quite that far. Yeah, that's.
Oh, show right there. Look.
Oh, they were showing it.
Had it like a,
Yeah. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up.
Apple stock tumbles below $400.
Oh, that's fucking.
We were talking about that today as well.
What's going on?
I think everyone's just catching up finally.
They lost like $25 yesterday.
I'm just miserable.
Really?
You know why? Because I invested. That's why I'm responsible.
What do you get in at?
$390.
So what is it now?
It's 400, but it went up to 700.
Oh, at one point.
And I held it. Ooh, it'll be 1,000. Fucking
Do you think it'll ever go back up?
No,
not if
not to 700.
Yes, as soon as I sell it. If I sell it, buy.
I don't think it goes to 700 anytime soon.
So
No
what is the
fucking
idea?
way.
You think like, well,
I think everyone just
we got this.
Everyone's started catching up.
Right.
That
I think.
Samsung phone really.
I'd go with the
the
Samsung.
Androids and whatnot.
I got the
That
Galaxy
I thought you meant
S3.
all Apple people caught up and they're like, I've already got everything. I don't need
Oh,
anything.
well,
But I think you're right. It's like other people.
I think everybody else,
smartphones.
they had such a lead on it.
They were really the only game in town for quite a while. I mean, they had other ones that are like, well, this is your iPhone killer. We got it right here.
Everyone
like,
was trying.
Really? Are they lining up at stores fucking for hours on end to buy that piece of shit? I don't think so.
I still like my iPhone, though.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
But, wow, man, that's a big drop.
Yeah,
Did you do
huge.
it?
What's going on in the world, man? Why?
I don't know. It's so weird.
Somebody on Twitter just hit me up this morning going like, I listen to your podcast and all you do is talk about movies. Why don't you talk about current events? Because they're fucking depressing.
Shit.
You're so right.
I'd rather just dwell on escapism and be like, hey, man, Batman. And that's it. And move the fuck
No,
on.
I think you give people a good release.
I think that's what it's about, right? It's certainly, you don't want to hear me talking about the issues. I don't have any deep
I love
insight.
when we push off to some silly, dumb, dopey thing.
I think
Just to
that's
get away from this shit
that's
for a
what
while.
people want. They're like, just make me escape. Particularly if you're listening to like morning radio and whatnot. You're listening to you guys. You don't want to sit there and be like, remind me how terrible shit
How
is.
shitty everything is.
Yeah.
and how
Make me
funny.
laugh, bitches.
Well, we're
That's your
like,
job.
we're kind of.
Yeah, we do delve into it.
But then
you
we're
have to.
aware enough, to try to push away from it. And
Kind of goof on it.
yeah.
So you did a cartoon, a Jay and Silent Bob super groovy cartoon movie. I'm always amazed at how it's hard to motivate me to do most things, and you are fucking always
You're
on
an
a
animal.
project. I can't.
I'm terrified of being irrelevant, so naturally I'm always trying to work. You guys got it easy because every day you wake up and people are going to be listening to you and whatnot. But like in my world, you wake up, you're like, I hope people are still interested today.
Yeah.
So if you're making a movie once a year or once every 2 years, it's a lot of time for people to be like, well, while you're doing something else, I'm going to fuck off over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to kind of keep them intrigued, keep them interested.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things that came out of his sobriety. Homie here used to be all heroin and OxyContin out and shit.
Nice.
And now he's, as you can see, he got clean. I think it was like the second time. The first time he got clean, he was clean for what we thought was 6 years. It turned out to be 5. And he was lying for about a year of it or something. He'll be like, I wasn't lying.
Were you a good liar?
He was pretty good. We all
was
believed
good
him.
at it, yeah.
Even the dude was literally.
I was getting high for so long, I like sort of forgot how, like I thought I took my 6-year cake, like I was coming up on my 6-year cake, but I was really coming up on my 5-year cake, got surgery, started doing painkillers, and I was like, well, I was taking them as prescribed, and then when I was even taking more than prescribed, I was like, well, I'm not really getting high because I'm not doing oxys or heroin.
Oh, so it's not really getting high.
It sort of was just not so much me lying as much as being confused on it. It really was.
The truth confused me, so I stopped telling it.
Well, no, I'm saying in the beginning, and then when we really sat down and like really thought about the date, like what the birthday was, it was coming up on 5 years and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
You've been
that was the first time.
But he's been to hell and back, and he looks way better than all of us. What the fuck?
Oh, stop.
I saw that on Twitter. I put up a picture on Facebook of us yesterday, and somebody was like, how come he doesn't age?
You really don't age.
They said him, and I was like, what about me?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, you fucker.
All right, so that was the first time. Then the second time?
First time, and then now he's on the second round and of longevity and sobriety. And you're up to what? How many days?
So I don't know. I think it's 1,000 in like 15 days.
Oh man.
So
is that over 3 years or no?
It's almost 3 years.
Oh,
yeah. I know. I always sit there. I'm like 360.
Yeah.
Try to count it up. Right. I have. But yeah, it's like 1,015. So almost 3 years. I'm coming up on
1,095 over 3 years.
Look at you, man.
80
Good
days
Will
away.
Hunting and shit with the math. Just busting it. So he was in his early sobriety, like in the first 2 months of this 1,000 days run. He was looking for something to stay busy. He was like, I need something to keep me busy. And so he's like, I want to do something in movies other than act. Like, what else is there to do? I was like, there's a bunch of stuff that he could direct. He's like, I won't do that yet. I said, what do you think about doing? He goes, produce. I want to be a producer like Scott Mosier. And I was like, do you know anything about producing? He's like, no. I was like, then you are a producer. Welcome to the club. I said, look, I'll give you some material. I gave him a script for this comic book I'd written a while ago called Blunt Man and Chronic, because Jay and Silent Bob are superheroes. Yeah. I said, everyone's superhero crazy now. Take this. Maybe turn it into a web cartoon. And he went away with this dude, Steve Stark, who does our Smautomation. He takes our audio and makes cartoons out of it.
See, that's what we...
You guys, I don't understand why you aren't doing it now.
I don't.
Yeah,
we did an animation thing
that went
really well, and then I don't know.
You don't even.
We had an animation
fest where you just basically say on the show, "Hey, somebody make a cartoon," and they will send you a cartoon.
Yeah, well, we got Coke Logic who does an amazing job, but we want to kind of get more looks at our shit. We should just do it and fuck the animation festival angle. We had an animation festival, like it was a highbrow event for once for us because we're always down and dirty.
Right.
It was people loved it.
They just took segments of our show and animated
on top of it.
We had a whole festival. We got a winner and all that shit.
Yeah,
it did really well.
Now, why didn't you do it again?
Well, because we were caught up in actually doing it as an event again. Maybe we should just say fuck it and just get it online.
It should just be a show. It should, it's a no-brainer TV show.
Because you never know what bit they're gonna. In their minds they want they want to animate, and then they have what they feel like what we look like in animation, which is always different. So you have like 10 different Opies, 10 different Jimmies,
and it's just flattering to see somebody drawing you and taking your words and somehow making you funnier.
That's amazing.
Like you say funny stuff, but they animate on top of it.
Yeah.
And you're even more clever based on the visuals.
Yeah, it looks hilarious. I love those.
It's good stuff.
But that's what you guys are doing.
We found a dude named Steve Stark years ago. It's going back about 5 years now, that he had sent us a cartoon off of one of the Smodcasts. And we were like, oh my God. And we had the same notion of like, let's do this on TV. But that's like the old thinking. Like, I need permission. Somebody give me money to do this. And it was like Scott Mosier was like, what do you want? Do you want a TV show or do you just want cartoons about yourself? And I was like, I want cartoons about myself. He's like, so let's pay for them. We'll just do them here. So we started doing them. That dude's been around for a while. So Mews was like, I want to do this thing. I said, team up with Stark. So they went off, and he came back like 2 months later with like about 10 minutes. Actually, it's 5. I just watched it the other day. It's 5 minutes of like what was going to be the first web cartoon of Blunt Man and Chronic, it was called. And it was so good. Like, they had done it, and like normally I'm there when he does the performance, and I'm directing and stuff, but he was doing his performance without me. It sounded great. They put together something funny. It took the script and something that shouldn't make me laugh anymore because I wrote it years ago and I know this stuff inside and out. Made me laugh, man. And I was like, this is viable, dude. Like, never mind web cartoon. Like, you could turn this into like a whole movie. And he was like, if we turn it into a movie, can we take it out like Red State? And I was like, yeah, because I guess he liked the Red State tour. He didn't go on it that much, but he liked the idea.
That Red State idea was amazing.
It was fun. And so that's what we're doing with this. Same thing.
Awesome.
But what's smarter about this one? Like, I love the Red State tour, but Red State was figuring out how to do it and make money off of it. We paid off our bills and stuff. But the only way at the end of the day, I was like, the way we could have done better is if the movie wasn't as pricey. It was a $4 million movie, which isn't that expensive. But if you're going to do this kind of touring thing and four-wall thing, you don't have as much leeway or as much headroom. So with this flick, man, they went into production without thinking it as a movie. They were just kind of doing it as a web short. Once they were like, it's going to be a flick, they put it together and they had a budget. So I was like, what's the budget? And he was like, $69,000.
Wow.
And I said, why? And he goes, because 69 nooch. And I was like, the budget's based on a fucking sex joke?
Nice.
But they kept it to that. So the movie, the whole cartoon costs us $69,000. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, crazy not to be making some animation. So we take it now. Like, we put our tickets on sale for the tour a couple months back. Day one tickets go on sale. By the time day one ticket sales are done, we're already in profit.
It's called, by the way, let me plug it, csmod.com/Groovie movie, because there's a whole bunch of venues you guys are doing all over the country. And there's like a...
one here in New York is the Best Buy. We're going to be here Tuesday doing the screening at the Best Buy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can we go? Can we go?
Yeah, we'll give you guys tickets.
I would love to go.
I mean, it's at night, and I know sometimes you guys
I'll fucking stay up for that.
Is there a talk afterwards?
We're doing the movie first, and then afterwards we do our Jay and Silent Bob.
Can I tell you, when you did that with Red State, you get to see this cool movie, and then next thing you know, the actors are on the stage. I was blown away.
It was fun. We kept it going.
And other people are starting to kind of like follow your lead a little bit, right?
Yeah, there are some cats going out there, I guess. And I mean, look, it's not, if you want to be a huge success in the movie business, obviously do it the traditional way with the studio behind you.
That's boring.
Commercials, but this is a cool alternative for us. You know what I think about it is, like, this is for like us and the hardcore fans. We don't want to bother anybody. Like, sometimes, you know, when movies come out mainstream, you're inundated with ads and crap like that, and it's just like, ours is like, we don't want to bother anybody. We'll just be over here with our fans doing this thing, and it's been amazing. Like, it's like doing a rock concert every night or something. Man. So we did that with Red State. Now we're hoping to do it with this as well. So far, so good. We start in Atlanta on Sunday, and then we go to D.C., Tarrytown, then we're back here in the city, and then Philly and stuff. So we'll do this all year long. And with it being in profit already, then it's just like we go out there, and it's
gravy.
You're printing money at that point.
You got an empire, Kevin Smith.
It's little, though. Everyone says that. They're always like, you got an empire. I'm like, yeah, it's more of a blip-pyre. It's not very big, but what it is, it's cool.
We were talking about you the other day. I wasn't sure if it was on the air. Sometimes I get that, you know, I don't know, whatever, because we talked the whole time. But I can't believe how many podcasts you do a week.
Yeah.
How many hours is that?
I basically do the same amount of time or days. I don't even do time that you guys do, but I got 5 a week. You guys do 5 shows a week.
Yeah.
Same diff. It's not amazing. For radio people, you should be like, you're slacking.
Right.
Get more content.
No, because every hour has to be different with you. That's what's amazing.
Each show is different. But if you listen to all your shows, like, based on the content you get every day, the people come in, or the news you're talking about, every episode's different.
Well, now we joke because we're frustrated by all the podcasters because they do an hour a week, most of them.
And walk away.
We did our first hour today. I go, yeah, that's our podcast this week.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Nice.
But we don't have that luxury.
Must be nice.
Do you guys podcast the show, though, when it's done?
We're not allowed to.
No, why would we? That would be embracing new media. That would be silly.
Wait, so once the show ends,
see me biting my teeth. It's so frustrating. I'm like, we have to be in the iTunes world. Do you understand?
Once it ends,
and we have
that's it.
You get on demand, but
they have their on demand shit. But I'm saying, look, we have 8 years of material.
Yeah,
that we can't even play all the 8 years anymore because we're playing our newer shit. So take the old shit, put an hour on iTunes every week. So we're in the iTunes world with a little fucking commercial. You know, these guys are doing fresh shows every day on SiriusXM,
and it drives everybody back to the Daily Show as well.
It's a terrible lack of embracing new media. It's embarrassing.
But
it's a little strange.
iTunes and you make the charts and all that. That's big.
Do you think it has everything to do with SiriusXM being like, hey, we got our thing going
on
here.
Lost.
We don't want to.
Yes, they're lost.
Yeah. They're very hung up on exclusivity.
But
they seem to be back in the day, but I don't think that matters anymore.
No, it doesn't, but try to sell them on that.
No, because you want to make it as inconvenient as possible for people to get it. Because you really want people to walk through a mile of shit to enjoy your product. That's the best way to do it. Why make it easy?
We don't have smart people around us. They don't have a vision.
But the good news is you're getting paid.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difference. Us podcasters, we may have some smart people around, but nobody has any money.
That's a good point.
Advertisers still not really there?
Not like it is here in radio. Like, you'll still get advertising, and there's definitely some great organizations that have discovered, like, hey, podcasts, this is a dedicated medium where the listeners will listen to the commercial. They're not going to walk away. They're not going to tune out. They're sitting there as part of it because you support the program, you support that which supports the program. So it exists, and you can you could cover for us, we cover lots of our storage costs and whatnot. We move servers to kind of keep it cheaper as well. Because that's the thing, all these podcasts free for everybody else, but for the person that hosts them, that costs money on a server. Every time people hit them, you're being charged. Like for the first 2 years, I was like, podcasts are free. And my business manager was like, for everyone but you. Like you need to pay for this crap. And I was like, oh shit. So that's when we started monetizing, going out on the road with it.
I was going to ask, how do you make your money?
I mean, for me, it was more about like I just want to cover the cost on the server. So I'm not paying for everyone to listen to this stuff. But where I make my money, some people do the advertising thing. Like Adam Crowley does his podcast all the time. And his podcast is essentially his morning radio show. He moved to podcast form. So he kept the format with the commercials and ads and stuff. I don't mind the ads. I'm happy to do it. We do ads on our podcast, but I didn't want to be beholden to like the advertising dollar. Not that I'm like, you
didn't want to be held hostage.
Well, yeah, I want a little more freedom. And also like if you're dependent on advertising every waking moment of your life, you're like, do we have an ad for tomorrow? So I didn't want to be that. So I was like, all right, where do we make our money? And how I figured, it's not even I figured it out, but I figured, okay, all these podcasts drive people to the live show. That's it. Right. So basically for us, the podcasting is advertisement for the live show. And the live show, we make our coin.
That's what I try to tell these people, because it's like sometimes you can't put your hands on where the money's coming from. It just will bring more people to our show eventually. It'll all funnel down.
And also
but they have to see it immediately.
When marketing understands, like when the advertisers understand, put it together like, okay, yeah, TV is a wide net, but people don't sit there and watch commercials on TV. They kind of speed through them with a DVR. Radio, most people walk away during commercials. But podcasts, they will sit there and listen. You can put it at the beginning, middle, end, but they'll sit there and listen to it. And once they realize, like, you get 300,000 to 500,000 dedicated earballs that are like, oh, they're motivated and inclined to try out that product and stuff, they'll understand that that's a medium that they want to be putting more money. It's sick, easy money for an advertiser to be like, hey, man, we're hitting this many people, and it's guaranteed. It's not like, I hope people are listening.
Well, they can see it's almost like YouTube clicks. They see in front of them the exact amount of you can't lie about the numbers.
Never lie.
But they can't change the way they do business either. Advertisers, they're having a tough time looking outside the box because they're used to a certain way as well.
But if I was an advertiser, I would be
you would think
this moment right now where I'm like, look, for years I've been paying this much.
And you could get in cheap.
And knowing about results about this. But now we could qualify and quantify our results. So I'd rather spend this much more effectively in different areas. It's still TV's the big sexy where everyone's like, you need a commercial. But and I'm not denying that. Of course, commercials on TV, without them, there would be no television programming. But that's not the only place to spend your money. And people forget about radio. Terrestrial is still huge. Like, when I went out on the Red State tour, I would ask people, how many people are here because they saw me on TV promoting this? And you see a few hands go up. I'd be like, how many people are here because they heard me on a radio show? And that would be like 85 to 90%. People sit in their cars and go to work and listen to the radio. Like the way that for years and years people are like, radio's dead. Bullshit. Like radio is a powerful medium. That's why I keep trying to get into it. I'm like, that's the big step.
We get a lot of celebrities that we hear, they just don't do radio. And I go, you're just
dumb.
And
we're not dumb publicists.
And we're not talking about the over-the-top A-listers that just for some reason feel they're above it. We're talking about guys that absolutely could use the help on their project, but they don't do radio.
I don't understand that.
Dumb, right?
Because there's no, I've been in this business nearly 20 years now. I've never heard anybody go like, ugh, radio, or in the real world. But I've heard a lot of people, like actors and stuff, who are just like, well, radio, do I have to call in, blah, blah, blah.
Let me hit up Tim in Michigan. He's got a question for Jason, who's also in studio. Jason Mews. What's up, Tim?
Yeah, I was wondering about, I have a terrible opiate addiction myself, and I was wondering how he maintains and got himself sober and managed to stay that way. I'll hang up and listen, but thank you guys.
All right.
Again, the podcast, what we're talking about now, for me personally, the podcast has been a big help because this time around, me sharing my stories and keeping fresh in my head things that I've done and where I don't want to go back to, like, Christmas time, setting my couch on fire and stuff.
A tradition?
It's because, like we were saying earlier, when we were saying earlier that it was almost 5 years, I think when I got my, when I got the surgery and got the painkillers, I was like, oh, I almost have 5 years, or in my head it was almost 6 years, and I'm fine. But I wasn't going to meetings, and I wasn't talking to people, and I wasn't really accountable to anyone. I was hanging out with a few people that were just normal, and they didn't understand. So, like, even my one buddy, I was like, hey, man, I just got surgery, and I ran out of my pain meds. And he was like, oh, I have a bottle, because he didn't know any better. But now that I share with my friends and everyone around, I'm just straight up like, hey, you know, if they're like, hey, you want to go have a drink, you know, a glass of wine, I'm like, I can't. And they're like, what? It's not going to do anything. I'm like, Jesus. No, it will do something. So I think just be honest with people and go to meetings and find some people that you feel like you can open up to share what's going on with you, and to keep fresh, even if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, keep fresh. Like, hey, man, things are good now or normal, but you know, all it takes is one drink or one puff and stuff. Like, weed to me, it's like, I wish I could smoke weed, but I can't, just because it's the mindset. But I'm not against weed at all. Like, you know, to me, weed is a good thing. Like, I have a friend and my mom who passed now, though. It was the only thing that helped them eat. So I actually think weed is good, but I still can't do it myself because it's the mindset of like, I can't
getting high.
Yeah, it would take me back. I look at weed too. Like, that was one I didn't have terrible memories associated with. Yeah. But unfortunately, I've used up all the good times, and it's the price I'm paying for having fucked up so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jimmy's like 26, 27 years in.
26, yeah.
26 and change.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's like I can't.
17 he knew.
So.
I was at a meeting once where the dude was talking about, he's like, I got 26 years clean. And I was like, 26? And he seemed young. He started talking about, like, he was doing coke at age 10. He lived out in Hollywood and shit like that. So he's like, Hollywood in the 80s, man. We'd come home from school and do coke. And I was like, at 10 years old. But he knew at age 16, he's like, I had a run. And then by 16, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And you would imagine...
He's probably lying about his age. He's in Hollywood. He was probably like, everything was 10 years. He was probably 20 and 26.
I was actually 20.
He was a producer in the room. He's like, I got sober when I was 4. It's a fucking miracle.
I was like, this guy's young and smart. That was weird though, hearing that, man. I was like, well, that's a long time clean. And to clean up, to be young, I mean, but you're young as well at that point.
I don't want to say his name, but our buddy, my buddy, who I talk to all the time, he was like 14 when he was on the street using, and had like lost all his teeth by like 16. Wow. Like, that's how bad.
What was he doing? Was he doing meth or
hardcore meth, coke, heroin.
He talked about going to his first meeting, sitting in the back with his hand over his mouth because he had no teeth whatsoever.
At like 16, he was like 16. Homeless and like that bad. Fuck. Like, he was really in bad shape. So yeah, it's pretty crazy when you hear people that young getting into it, but I mean, it happens.
What do you do when you get the urge?
It's not weird hearing them get into it. It's weird hearing that they get out of it. Like, to have the presence of mind at 16 or 17
to just know,
to be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Right, because usually that kind of...
I put myself back to 17. I'm like, I'm just...
if you were 17, 16, you're like, this feels good. I'm never going to stop. Why should I?
But I think it is pretty amazing. I really do.
So when you get the urge, do you call somebody immediately, or do you...
I haven't had an urge, because, I mean, between talking about it, like, we're on the road all the time talking about it, and my wife, and spending a lot of time with Kevin, and I mean, I would say what I have an urge for more, and it's not like a serious urge, is booze. Like, I almost to that fact to where I'm just like, man, why can't I just have a drink? How awesome would it be to be able to go to a ball game and have a couple cold ones? And but the opiates,
that's true. Over the last few years, that's the only thing I've ever heard him talk about. I was like, you tempted anymore? He's like, every once in a while I see a beer commercial, I want a beer. I was like, why?
Yeah.
It looks like everyone's having a good time, and I can't figure out why I can't do that.
They're not accurate, though. You never see a fucking Bud or Michelob Light commercial where you fast forward, the guy's being pulled out of a car with a fucking a 9-year-old's leg in his grill. Like, beer companies never show you fucking trying to keep an erection, or for calling a woman, or confessing a childhood homosexual incident to a room full of male friends.
Good times were made for Michelob.
Exactly.
I want to get a beer for Jimmy right now. Oh, man. I want to hear these stories.
They do paint a lovely picture, though.
What was it? Yeah. You keep mentioning the surgery. What was the surgery?
Oh, kidney stones. They put a tube in that. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
They put a tube right in my...
Oh, fuck.
No fun.
They couldn't do that ultrasonic shit?
And I remember...
Were you awake when they were doing it?
No, they put me out, but when I woke up, they gave me something, and I just remember, like, on the way home, like, feeling the side of my car, and my wife at the time had never seen me messed up. I had,
shit.
You know, I had like 2.5 years sober or so at that point. But I started like rubbing the side of the car, I remember, and just being like, this is awesome. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just thought you were like high. I don't want to be around you.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, but it was kidney stones. It was pretty painful. But again, it wasn't that painful looking back that I couldn't have just done the painkillers as prescribed for 4 or 5, 6 days.
I don't know.
But it gave me
pain?
that taste. Well, after like the 6th day, I was like, man, it still hurts. And it was sort of my head tricking me. And I'm like, it says take 2 every, 4 to 6 hours. But it's, I have a high tolerance because I have an old habit. And I even called the doctor because I'm like, if I don't take it as prescribed, it's going to be a relapse. So can you put 3 every 4 to 6 hours?
Jesus
and he
Christ,
did change it for me. And the 2 didn't really.
That doesn't
it took away
seem
the
to really
pain,
figure.
But the 3 took it to that like warm feeling, and I was just like, whoa.
Oh man.
I don't know, but yeah. But again, hopefully, I'm not saying like, I don't ever think like, oh, it's nice to just zone out on some opiates. But I think at this point, again, I think it's so. I've messed up so many times and burned so many bridges. I don't think I don't think physically I could come back from it. I think I'd lose everything I've got. And this time it's really in my face because I feel like even last time when I lost some stuff, but I don't feel like I fell too far at that point.
Kevin, were you ever in a position where you were ready to give up on him and just like, hey, fuck this?
Yeah, like, did you get
at it?
Yeah, there were a few times. Yeah. I mean, the last time, honestly, like, I thought he was clean for 6 years, and then it outed that he was only clean for 5, and he'd been using for, like, the last year of it. And his wife, Jordan, told me. And he's right. Like, when he hooked up with her, he was clean, so she never saw, like, junkie Mews. And she was scared. She was like, I don't know how to say this, but I think Jason's using it. I was like, no.
Oh,
it was during Cop Out. And he was out here. He'd come out here at one point because he wanted to be a stunt driver in it. He was like, can I be in the movie? And I was like, I don't think there are any parts. He goes, no, I want to be a stunt man. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I see there's a car flip. I want to do that.
Holy
shit. So I
shit.
asked Warner Brothers. They were like, I guess if he wants to be, we'll send him to stunt school. So they're going to send him to stunt school to learn to drive. It was like 10 grand or something.
Hal Needham.
That's kind of cool.
I
know.
You were just hoping to get hurt and get painkillers. That's all.
I'm going to get nothing but oxys. But he, when she told me about it, she was like, he's using, and there was a really sad moment that actually, like, years later is kind of bittersweet and poetic. But I called him, like, when she told me, I was like, well, we got to get him here. We got to intervene. We'll get our friend DK over, and he'll take him right to a rehab. Like, that's the only way. There's no messing around.
Right.
You can't let him try to do it. I've been down this road. So I called him up. I was like, hey, man, what's up? And he's like, hey, how are you? And I was like, why don't you come over and we'll grab some breakfast? He was like, yeah? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And years later, he would
the bear trap in the front door.
And he said he knew it too. He was just like, I knew something was wrong because you never invite me to breakfast. And years later, that's what we do. We eat breakfast together. We spend a lot of time together now. But at that point, he was like, oh, there's something wrong here. And he got there, and I was like,
it's like calling up the guy to get whacked.
Totally.
Yeah, come on down. I got something I need you to do.
Jason put his pinky ring in the fucking thing.
I appreciate your honesty about it, and I do listen to your podcast when I can, and I love when you're telling your stories when you're fucked up. Holy, there was one, I'm trying to remember, where you were being chased or something and ended up on a movie set. Do you remember something like that? And you ended up being an extra in a movie you didn't want to be in because you were like trying to get rid of some dude?
Yeah, I borrowed my buddy's car and I was going to cop and we were at a red light and I dropped my cigarettes and I reached down but my foot must have came off the brake just a little bit and I swear my car hit it this boom.
Barely tapped it.
Yeah, and the guy's like, we're going to call the cops and they're going to be here. And I'm like, I don't have a license and I have a warrant. And then I'm like, all right, let me pull over, and he jumped through the window because he's like, you're gonna take off, and I'm like, no, I'm just pulling out of the main road because people are beeping and stuff. And he grabbed the keys from me, so now I'm like, there's no way I can even try to sneak out. So I got out of the car and we're talking. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for the cops. He like turned around and walked back to his car for a second. I was like, whoa. I'm like, shut it off, and I'm like going down these side streets, and then I saw a dude that had worked on one of the movies, and he's like, hey man, what's up, dude? He's like, I worked on such and such, and he's like, like, I'm an PA for this movie, and I'm like, all right, I can dip in here and stay away. But then I was in the backyard, and they're like, oh, you're here, and while you're here, yeah, it was.
Did they put you on camera? They're like, why you're here?
Yeah, exactly.
They kind of put him on camera, or you were like in the background of a scene.
And then it somehow,
we'll give you sanctuary, but you gotta ask for a coke in the scene.
I didn't tell them why I was running and that I was running for this situation. I was like, oh man, and you know what? My car broke down and I have to go pay this guy. I owe money. And I was like, you know what? I was like, can you give me a ride down there to pay him off? So he even wound up giving me, the guy, after I shot a couple things and left, he gave me a ride to the Burger King where I used to meet my guy, and I got out and went over and gave the dude money. I was like, yeah, I just paid him off the money I owed him, but I was really picking up. And then I was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. That was at the point where I couldn't wait to get in the car and get home. I'd like go in the Burger King bathroom and like shoot crack, and it was just ridiculous.
Shoot crack?
So, yeah.
How do you shoot crack? I think you smoke
lemon juice. Oh wait, no, water. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I don't want to give away.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people know that, but yeah, you can anyway. There's ways to do it, and it's better if you like that stuff. Anyway, it's bad.
Oh yeah.
It's just bad and crazy, and
it's just bad shit.
It got worse and worse, and it was bad. So, but yeah, Jay,
you couldn't even go
Super
home.
Groovie cartoon movie is
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, sorry, Jason.
Not at all.
Right.
The podcast. I mean, the only reason Jay and Silent Bob's Super Groovie cartoon movie exists is because of shit like this. Like when we started doing Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, which is the podcast we do. It's kind of the intervention podcast. He sits around every week and talks about, he tells funny stories about fucking, and then he tells horrible stories about being fucked up. And,
right.
And, we don't sit there and lecture. Our philosophy is like, handle your high. We got nothing wrong with like fucking booze or drugs. Obviously, I'm a fucking big fat stoner. But when it comes to, your substances, life is hard. If you can't handle your high, put it the fuck down. In the case of Jason, he's just one of those people who can't handle his fucking high. So we went out. We've been doing the podcast for now, what's going on, 2 years, like 103 episodes or whatever. Always a live show. And it's nice because I sit next to him, and every time, I've watched him become a really wonderful raconteur. He can tell stories. Like in the beginning, you'd have to pull the stories out of him. Now you give him 20 minutes, and he just holds forth, and you're the more reactionary guy than anything else. But during all that, I think the first 2 months after doing it, that's when he was just like, I want to do something else. Like he wanted to do the podcast every day. And I was like, well, if we did a radio show, I guess we could do it every day, but podcast every day, I don't know. And that's when he was just like, well, I want to do something else. And it led to the movie. So the movie he was kind of doing to stay sober, and it kind of worked out, turned into something.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it.
It's funny shit, dude. It's like, I've been in a nice position of not having to work on it. They go off and do the work, and then they're like, what do you think? So I'm just the opinion guy.
Right.
And I can be like, well, you can lose this because you don't need this, or you can add this, or we can record a new line. But generally speaking, it's been such a gift because I'm doing a bunch of other shit, and then periodically you get an email with a file in it, and you're just watching this cartoon flick. So it slowly came together over the course of about a year and a half, and now we're ready to take it out, and it's fucking funny. It's total stoner comedy.
Nice.
Good fucking. I look forward to this. Is the weird thing about this is every other flick we've ever taken out, even Red State, I've seen it with a bunch of people by the time we bring it to an audience, but this was so isolated and insular, we haven't even screened it for it. Nobody's seen it except me, him, and his lady, and the guy that mixed it, and people that did some songs and stuff.
I'm going Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
I'm going to give the website out again too. It is csmod.com/groovy movie. There's a lot of dates up you can go in because there's too many to give out, but there's like 20 different cities or dates, and of course it's at that Kevin Smith on and who are you on Twitter, Jason? You on Twitter?
At JAYMEWES at Mews. Yeah.
Okay. And
that's out in the world. That requires you to leave your house to go see us. You'll be able to hear the podcast for free later on at smodcast.com.
But if you want to go see these live events,
but if you want to go, you got to leave the house. However, we also have a cartoon that if you don't want to leave the house, you can actually watch right now. We just put it up on iTunes yesterday. It's called Kevin Smith's Cartoon Lagoon, and me and him are on the story is
70s sounding cartoon titles.
It's so 70s, dude. It's Space Ghost Coast to Coast with a little bit of Pee-wee's Playhouse with a little bit of
Sid and Marty Croft.
We have a puppet, dude.
Do you?
A puppet that we interact with, and we're in a cartoon sub that got lost going to Poughkeepsie, and we're being chased by a great white shark that Ralph Garman does a voice for, and then we show cartoons. It's fun, dude. You want to talk about
That's great.
stoner activity, though? Like, I watched it, when it was all finished, and I was like, this wouldn't exist if I didn't smoke weed.
Right.
No kidding. The only reason it exists is because you're like, let's do a puppet show, and we wound up doing it, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to try to do it. We have all these cartoons that Stark and other people have made off of our podcast, so we're like, well, let's put them in a framework, and the framework is us trapped on this sub fighting this great white shark who comes up through the toilet, and the only way we could fight him off is with cartoons, so we just keep showing them cartoons. So they can go get that now, Kevin Smith's Cartoon Lagoon on iTunes.
I gotta ask you one more thing.
We gotta bring Tom in too.
Tom,
I
gotta ask you one more thing though, because obviously you're aficionado as far as comic movies go. Superman, what are you thinking?
Oh, I cried at that trailer.
The trailer's fucking great.
When Kevin Costner goes, "You are my son," and he has that crack in his voice.
Yeah.
That really got to me. Whenever they're doing the voiceover about he'll be this, it's messianic. They're talking about a Christ-like figure, about you're going to go to Earth and be this for these people. It looks big, like the opening shot of the trailer with all that chaos. Krypton's exploding, and it's just single piano cues as opposed to da 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 da. Right. Everything about it screams all these beats,
and
but we're presenting Zod. And there's a moment in the trailer that looks like they're doing a version of the Kryptonian prisoner sentencing, because he's sitting there going, "I will find him," and he's kind of looking in cuffs, and he's not on Earth. So it looks like they're going to start kind of the same way. I got excited. Dude.
I got totally excited. I saw your tweet. It's just kneel before Zod. I'm like, oh fuck, the trailer's out.
Do you think he says it? Do you think they'll say it?
I don't know.
He's got it.
Such a fucking.
I hope to God. It looks fantastic. I love that dude. I used to watch the Tudors, and he was always a really good dude in the Tudors, one of the few characters in the Tudors with a moral compass of some sort. He looks like he's doing the job.
And Russell fucking Crowe.
Perfect casting.
Yes.
All the gravitas that he brings to it. I just cannot wait. It looks phenomenal. The air strikes. Did you see him punching people in the air?
Yeah.
Have you played? I know this is a little close to home too, and we'll get out of here.
No.
There's a game that we did a commercial for called the Injustice Gods Among Us. It's a fighting game by the guys that do Mortal Kombat. And it's all DC Universe characters fighting each other. This game, dude, we've lost so much fucking time and productivity. Because you could just be Batman beating the shit out of Batman, or you could be Batman beating the shit out of Bane, Superman, Batman fighting. It's so fucking badass. But they have a special move. Every character has a special move. And the Superman special move is you do the fucking combo button. They zoom in on him and get ready for the special move. Superman punches you. You go up through the ceiling, up into the upper atmosphere. You break clouds. You're in outer space. He zips past you, then comes above you and punches you back fucking down to Earth. It is so cool. As much as I love Man of Steel, man, this game it feels like you're actually in charge.
They have it for your iPad and your iPhone too. It doesn't have all those specials, but it's really the fighting is awesome.
Man. It's not a shooter game, but it's a fighter game. But it's by the people that did Mortal Kombat, like Ed Boon and stuff. So it's a pretty bad, get over here kind of badass fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off.
I got to piss.
You can stay.
You can stay. We actually more than
it's really up to you.
We got some stuff to do. I don't want to take my man's got.
Okay,
give him the mic,
but I don't want you to think we're
No, never.
You're more than
Thank you
welcome to stay.
Hey, Jason, thanks so
Mews,
much,
Kevin
man.
Smith, of course. Jay and Silent Bob's super groovy cartoon movie. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going
baby.
I'm going
we
next
got tickets
week.
for you. We'll put aside.
Where's the Best Buy Theater, by the way?
It's right in Times Square, I think.
It's easy.
2 blocks away.
We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And the great Tom Sizemore coming in next. His book is fucking amazing.
Right on.